Welcome to our first week together with Foundations of Mathematics. We are going to start with the basics here, and I know there's going to be a little bit of confusion when we start talking about positives and negatives. So I've got a way that I think will kind of help us clear that up. And so when you go back to like when you first started learning how to add and subtract, usually you started with positive numbers, or the positive number was always bigger. And like think about 2 plus 2. We automatically know that the answer to that is positive 4. And you think, well, how do I know that that's a positive 4 and not a negative 4? Well, those are both positive numbers. You're adding them together, you're just getting a bigger positive result. Well, the same can be said for negative numbers. So when you start seeing negative numbers, one thing you want to remember is that if they both have the same sign, just kind of like 2 plus 2, I just add those together and I keep it positive. They were both positive. I added those numbers, I got a positive result. But when you get into negatives, like let's say if I had negative 2 plus negative 2, those are two negative numbers. They have the same sign. So same sign, add and keep. Before everything stayed positive, now everything's going to stay negative. So same sign, add those two numbers together and keep the sign. And it can also look like this, negative 2 minus 2. So I'm still doing the same thing. Those both have the same sign. I'm just adding them together and I'm keeping the sign that they both have. They're both negative numbers, same sign, add and keep. Okay, so whenever you see same sign, remember that. And then we're going to look at another scenario here where the signs are not the same. So if I get to encountering numbers where the signs are different, and now when we first learned add and subtract, we saw things like this, 4 minus 2. You just subtracted it and you knew automatically your answer was positive because 4 was bigger. And when we're introduced to subtraction, that's pretty much always the case. We don't get negative answers. But in algebra and higher level math, you're going to start seeing those signs flip around and change. And it kind of makes us a little bit confused on what do we do? What kind of answer? Is our answer going to be positive? Is it going to be negative? Well, different signs always subtract. So 4 minus 2, we don't think of those as different signs. We think of that as subtract. But really, that's a positive 4 and a negative 2. We subtracted and we kept the sign of the larger number. So the saying that kind of helped me with this, a buddy of mine showed me this. He said, same sign, add and keep. Different signs, subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number, then you'll be exact. And I know that sounds kind of silly to have this rhyme to help us remember adding and subtracting, but it will actually help you when you're looking at these numbers and they're confusing and you see positives and negatives, different signs. Subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number, then you'll be exact. So here I've got negative 4 and positive 2, different signs. Subtract. I know that 4 minus 2 is 2, and I'm just going to keep the sign of the larger number. So the larger number was negative. So 4 is bigger than 2. Keep the sign of the larger number. Both times we kept the sign of the larger number, and we got the answer correct. So different signs, subtract them, keep the sign of the larger number, then you'll be exact. So that's kind of how we remember that, but you're not always going to see things that are this cut and dry. There are going to be times when you see a positive number and they subtract a negative number. And the way that I look at this is now a problem where we have a debt. A negative is like, if you look at a bank account, a negative is a debt. You owe a certain amount of money, it comes across as a negative. So if you're going to take away a debt, if I owe a debt and somebody says, hey, I'm going to take away all of your debts, they're going to have to give me some money. So when you take away a debt, it becomes addition. So there's a negative 2, we're taking that away. And the only way to get rid of a debt is to give something. And so these two negatives create a positive, and my answer is actually positive 7. So there will be times when you see a negative being taken away, and they used to say keep, change, like keep this one positive and change both of these. But anytime I see two negatives, I just make a big plus out of it because we're adding that to get rid of the negative. To get rid of a debt, we have to give. And so if I were to have something, say, for example, like negative 5 minus negative 2, I'm going to do the same thing. I've got a negative. I'm trying to take away a debt. So that negative that's being subtracted away is going to create a positive. And now I'm going to say, okay, well, let me look at this. Now they have different signs. Now I have a -5 and I have a +2. Different signs subtract. Now they're both different. So 5 and 2, if I subtract those, is what I'm thinking mentally is, what is 5 minus 2? I'm keeping it simple. Different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number, then you'll be exact. So the larger number was negative. We kept that answer in line with the larger number. So that's pretty much it this week. We're going to be looking at just kind of practicing, kind of getting a grasp on this, practicing some positives and negatives, adding and subtracting. How does that work? And just remember, same sign add and keep, different sign subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number, then you'll be exact. So if we can remember that, it'll kind of make this easier for us. And we're going to move into variables and some of the things that they're already looking at in algebra. But for now, it's just positives, negatives, how do they work? And next week we'll look at multiplying and dividing with positives and negatives and how that whole thing works. But for now, we're just going to be practicing positives and negatives. You guys have a blessed, God-filled week. Thanks for tuning in. God bless.